The lesson I presented, I was mostly pleased with. However, as always, there were all times and places that I believe I could have improved on or done differently for the betterment of my students' learning. One of the main ideas and focuses was to implement the chosen teaching technique, do it again, effectively and appropriately. Those two words are key to understanding when and where to integrate the technique throughout the lesson. To begin the lesson, I wanted and felt like the best way to ensure the students were positively impacted by the technique was to introduce it from the get-go. So, during the initial discussion of what was going to be taking place during the lesson, when students would answer my questions about how to perform the skills or how to integrate the skills into the challenging movement situations, I would question their response and challenge them to respond in a different way to ensure that an accurate response was delivered and effective learning was taking place. This set the tone for the duration of the lesson, as students now understood what the expectation and standard was of them. This also questioned their thinking, as they thought more deeply about their responses to ensure the correct or accurate response was given on the first attempt to answer my questions. The implementation of the teaching technique was continued right throughout the lesson, during the pairing off stage and the basketball game scenario. My thinking has changed throughout this process, based off feedback received from Manette and Karina, my peers. This being that although I integrated the technique in reference to theory and improving thinking and academics, it's also a vital and effective technique to improve behavior and culture of the classroom. This is something I did not think about before. Before, I hadn't understood the usefulness that it can have to question disruptive behavior or distracted behavior. My mind was closed off and simply not open to understanding that there were other ways and methods to introduce the technique in different facets of the lesson. My plans for future lessons and my teaching practice is clearly addressing what I just described, and that is to implement the do it again technique. This is by Doug Lemov, Teaching Like a Champion. I think he has 62 techniques. This is the teaching technique 51. This technique, to implement this in the behavioral portion of the lesson. This will improve the culture and learning of the students, as well as the students will be on task for longer and focused on learning and improving their skills or whatever they may be learning. This might be knowledge-based with muscles that are needed to perform the skill. For instance, for a three-point shot, the muscles required are clearly calves, hamstrings, quadriceps, shoulder muscles, deltoids. This can be implemented throughout any type of learning. A goal in my professional development as a teacher would be to feel that when I enter a classroom and begin my lesson, that I feel that the culture and environment that permeates is one that is focused on getting better always and continuing to learn and improve. Now, this may seem subjective, which it is. It's not an objective trait. It can't be measured, the feeling and culture and environment. But clearly, I believe, through my experience from when I was a student and the little experience I have as a pre-service teacher throughout my university studies, that it's quite easy to get a feeling and understanding and comprehension of what the culture and environment is like in a classroom. When you take time to look and observe what the student's behavior is in a classroom, it's very easy to understand, okay, this classroom is one that permeates a great learning and striving to do better culture. And that is my goal as a professional teacher.